Do you ever wonder why some businesses rank higher in Google Maps and in Google search? And it seems like they're in the same business as you are, or they're doing the same things that you are, but for some reason, they're always ranking higher than you. Well, in this episode, I'm going to show you 4 secrets that you could be using to make sure that you rank higher than your competition. Trevor Riggs here, and welcome to the Art of Local Marketing. And on this podcast, we will learn how to navigate the marketing jungle for your local business. Marketing and advertising for your local business is changing, and we need to find creative ways to get the word out about our products and services. We need to develop mad skills and to evolve to survive this ever-changing market in order to stay relevant in the digital age. I can help. This podcast can help, and I'm glad that you found us. Okay, your Google My Business listing is the most important online listing for any local business. It drives the local business search, it drives the Google search engine, Google Maps, Google Assistant for Voice, and tons more things like that. So the first tip is you want to make sure that you've claimed your Google My Business listing and that you've verified that all the information that is in that listing is correct. So make sure your phone number is correct. Make sure your address is exactly correct. It's very important to have information that is correct for the Google search. Google will reward accuracy. So make sure everything is accurate. That's the first tip, and probably one of the most important things is go through your listing step by step. Make sure every single thing is accurate and 100% complete, because what happens is a lot of times a company will set up their Google My Business and 3 or 4 or 5 years later, things have changed, but they never changed their listing. So you want to make sure that you go back through and start optimizing this listing. And the first thing that you need to do is verify your information, make sure that your hours of operation are correct, and make sure that your address is correct, make sure your phone number is correct. Check all these things, because I've seen it hundreds of times. People think that they have the right information, but maybe something changed, then they forgot to go back and change it. So double check all the information that you have in your listing. That's the first thing to do. Okay, tip number 2, add photos and videos and virtual tours. So the more photos you can add, and this is like in an episode that I talked about previously, the more photos that you can add to your listing, the higher you're going to rank. And more than likely, most of your competitors don't either do it or don't know how to do it, or they're not doing it. So just by adding photos alone is going to help your rankings. Now, there's a little trick that'll even boost you a little bit more, and I'm going to go tell you about that here. And that is to make sure to geo-tag your photos. Now, there's a website that you can use to add the geotags to your photos, or if you've made some kind of graphics or whatever. And in the show notes, I'll link to that website. I'll make it easy for you guys to find. But by geotagging your photos is going to be signals to the Google Maps. When somebody searches for you and they're close to your location, it's going to find those photos and it's going to know that your address and things like that are 100% correct. And like I said before, the more correct information that you can provide, the more Google is going to reward you in the search. So tip number 2, add products, services, videos, and make sure that you geotag every single one of them so people can find you and the algorithm rewards you for it. Google My Business listing, when you look on the right-hand side, has a place for questions and answers. And most businesses, that's pretty much blank. And so it leaves it wide open for your customers to ask questions or to give answers. And sometimes you might not like the answers or the questions that they're going to give. So the best thing to do is make yourself a list of your 10 frequently most asked questions. And take those questions, fill out the answers, and you put those into your questions and answers. Because the algorithm, once again, will look for websites, or Google My Business sites, that is, that have more complete and relevant information. So you want to make sure that if you fill out your questions and answers properly, Google will find your site and they'll compare it against somebody else's site and they'll rank you higher. So questions and answers, fill them out, make sure that they're what you want to say, not what somebody else might be saying about you. Okay, and the fourth tip is what we call citations. And what a citation is it's basically a backlink to your Google My Business site. And you want to go, and this is kind of a manual process. It's tedious. I don't like doing it. It takes a lot of time, but it really, really pays off. Search for all the business directories that you can find. For example, Yelp, Apple Maps. There's hundreds of them, okay? Go on to those sites. You probably have to sign up for every single one of them. Put your business information in. Make sure that you put in your exact business address, phone, just like I was talking before. Accuracy is the king, right? So the more citations that you have from other directories pointing towards your Google My Business listing, that's the secret of how one site will do better than the other, is they have more links. And it is time consuming. There are companies out there that will do it. I think I've seen them done for like $2 a piece. So, it just depends on your budget. But if you have, what I usually do is I allot myself 10 or 15 minutes a day, and I try to do one or two a day. And, if you do this over and over and over, pretty soon you've got 150, 200 backlinks, and your site starts ranking number one in maps almost every single time. So that's a huge secret. So make sure you get as many citations as you can. They're easy. I'll put a link to a service that will do it for you, but I just do it myself. It's not that big a deal. And I know I said I was gonna do 4. I'm gonna do a couple more because I think that this little trick is something that a lot of people don't know. And we're all supposed to be asking for reviews. And I did an episode about getting reviews a little while ago. But it's when you respond to the reviews. Make sure that when you're responding to the reviews, put in some keywords and make sure that the keywords kind of are relevant to your business. So say your hair salon and Sally says, I got the greatest haircut in the world. It was awesome. I really, really appreciate it. So your response could be something like, thank you for your review, Sally. Here in Des Moines, Iowa, we like to be the number one beauty salon. So we go out of our way to do the best job or whatever. I'm not a beauty salon, so I don't know quite what you would say, but I'm just kind of making that up off the cuff. But you kind of see my drift there. Use some keywords in your response to the reviews. You want to make it look authentic. You don't want to look like you're keyword stuffing it, and you want your customer to feel like the review is legitimate and appropriate. But adding those keywords in there can help in your search because Google's all about search. They're looking for keywords. They're looking for terms that are relevant to your business. It's a great opportunity. If you get 200 reviews, it gives you 200 opportunities to kind of plug your business along with saying thank you for the reviews. Okay, and then this is my final tip for this episode. You want to make sure that your competitors are not cheating. So a lot of times local businesses will cheat and they'll keyword stuff the title on their business. And it's against the Google terms of service. So, for example, if you're a dentist and you put the title to your dentist name as 24-hour dentist, if someone searches for 24-hour dentist, obviously that one's going to come up first, right? But the real name of the business is not 24-hour dentist. So what you want to do is you want to go through and suggest an edit on every one of your competitors' sites that they're keyword stuffing it or they are somehow misrepresenting the name of their business, and just suggest an edit to Google. Google will go look at their site and it will look at the name. And if it's not correct, then it'll knock them down in the search rankings. Now, I know that it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't rat out my competitors or whatever. But this is all about being accurate for your customers. And it's also about fairness. And if somebody's cheating, I don't see anything wrong with going and reporting inaccurate information to the Google search engine so that your accurate information is boosted up higher than someone who's cheating. So report the cheaters. If they're cheating, hey, they shouldn't be cheating. And click on their link. It's really easy. You can just go right down the map hack, look to see what names look like they could be spammers. Sometimes they're just lead generation sites and they don't even belong there. So go through those things and suggest edits to Google, because I can guarantee you that if yours is not correct, somebody's going to do it to you. So make sure yours is correct and then go and correct everybody else's. Okay, so for a quick recap, number 1, verify all your information, make sure that it's correct. 2, add photos and videos to your Google My Business listing and make sure to geo-tag them. Number 3, make sure that you've answered your questions and answers and have them in there. Make sure that they're what you want them to say. And number 4, make sure that you have good citations. Spend some time, get some citations. It'll make all the difference in the world. And lastly, get rid of the cheaters. Nobody likes a cheater, so kick them out if you can. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this week's podcast. I hope you got a lot of enjoyment out of it and you learned a little bit along the way. And if you enjoy the podcast, if you could do me a favor and rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening to your podcast at. So until next week, this is Trevor. Have a great week. Sell a lot. Have a lot of fun.